Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another Ask the Trainer summer edition, I guess. No, technically it's still spring, isn't it? I hope everyone is well and make yourselves known if you're in the chat. I'm looking around um, for the numbers. Please let me know if I'm audible. Local Mats, hello. Hello, Al Footwell. Now, see, I've talked about this before. I really dislike lowercase l's and uppercase i's because they look the same. Is it AI footer 3? Is it al footel? I don't know. I do not know. So Jay, Georgie, um, Kinbread. That's nice. Hello, everyone. Good, 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 good. Al foot E3. There we go. Got it. Yeah, but you understand my frustration. They should ban uppercase I's and lowercase L's. They need to find another symbol for them. They can go to the Greek alphabet. We have some very interesting letters there. They can pick them for the I's. The uppercase I could be, I don't know, a big triangle or something. Anyhow, so we have a few questions. In the meantime, while you are here, please, if you have a question, make sure you preface it with a capitalized question so I can distinguish it in the comments. I'm going to go full steam showing today's questions from the online forum, and I'm going to do the housekeeping at the end. People think you're AI. Maybe you are, you know. So let's go to. I think I'm going to go to the full screen here. So let's. Oh, actually, what I'm going to do before I do that, I'm actually going to answer a verbal question. I have a question from one of our Chinese users, and it says, "Can if it?" But it's so the question asks, "May I ask if individual developers can develop plugins for Cinema 4D?" The answer is yes, and I'm going to show you where you can find information over there. Let's go. Let me do this for a second. I'm going to open up a new browser and type. There we go. Once this is up, I'm going to show you my screen. So if you go to developers.maxon.net, this is a website that is fully dedicated at people that want to create their own plugins and scripts and stuff like that. And it has support for C++ and Python SDKs for ZBrush, Cineware, and everything else you may need. Here, there's a great forum. The forum is observed every single day by extremely talented, knowledgeable, and very generous SDK support team. And yeah, you can ask all your questions here. The two languages we support is Python, both for scripts and plugins, and C++. Just in case, someone doesn't know, the implementation of Python is not only making a script. Script manager, you create a new script, and you write your magic here, wherever you may find that. But there are also other places, and there's some really interesting places where you can do stuff. Let's take an object, for example, and let's right click. And in the programming tags, you have the Python tag. So you can write Python in this tag, and you can do all sorts of things that tags do. You can create your own, let's say, polygon selection or vertex map selection and stuff like that. Just do the appropriate code, and I don't even know what this does. So Python tag is number one. What else do we have? If you go to the programming here, we have the interaction tag that includes some sort of Python. And the interaction tag is a very interesting thing where you can create specific mouse interactions with objects. So you can create controllable rigs. I'm not going to get into that today. Then we have, of course, let's go here, MoGraph, the Python um, effector. And if you go to the effector here, let me get rid of the plane. The Python effector, of course, works with MoGraph and has two um, discrete modes: parameter control and full control. Parameter control, it just returns a value which then is taken up by these parameters. So it returns a value from 0 to 1, the fall off, so to speak, and then it will apply these parameters. But then you have full control, where you can see there are no parameters anymore, and you can apply for every single clone whatever you want. Right, so that's a Python effector that, of course, works as a deformer as well. So you can make your own deformer by moving points around. Then we have, let me think, I think we have a Python generator. And the Python generator, you can drop a child and it does something with that child. I don't even know what this does, the default, what it does, nothing probably. And you have the Python generator. What else do we have? Of course, we have a Python field. So if you have a plain effector or any effector for that matter, you go here, you can bring up a Python field. So you can do programming on the fall-offs of this. In any case, as you can see, we have plenty of Python activator stuff. Oh, how did I forget? If you have an Espresso tag, programming Espresso tag, in the Espresso tag, you can have Python. Let's do this again. Python. There you go, Python. And you can see the code over here. You can add inputs and outputs and do whatever math you want and so forth. So that is a very long-winded answer to our good friend that asked the question, where you can develop not only plugins, but you can create fantastic interaction that lives in your in Cinema 4D. Now, here is the interesting part about this. Generators, effectors, and deformers, because you can make a deformer into an effector into a deformer. While it allows, if you create a proper plugin, a Python plugin or something like that, that will appear in the extensions here, and you have the ability to bring up interfaces. You can do everything that a plugin does. Imagine one of the most complex plugins, let's say third-party renderers or third-party particle systems and so forth. They have very extensive user interfaces, which you can customize yourself. And that is one of the advantages of having a plugin. The disadvantage is that you need to install it, and you need to restart Cinema 4D to load it. And if you're sharing a scene that contains that plugin, it does not save the plugins as well. So you need to share your plugin. While if you use effectors or deformers, effectors as deformers, or the Python generator, or anything else that is encapsulated in the file, you don't need to share anything else. You can create a generator which is not a plugin, but it's Python. Anyway, just want to say that. And let me read the comments. Let me go to the comments. Okay, there is a question here by Al. Is there a repository for nodes that explain their purpose and inputs, outputs? Other than what's in the help and various websites, so what I would say is join the Discord, C4D Procedural. That is one place you can go. Let me see if something I can do here. Let me go here. And let me go here. And let me do an invite. Let me copy this. Okay, I'm going to paste an invite for the C4D Procedural. There it is. So go check it out. Of course, I don't have to say you are all respectful and helpful, You'll find a lot of information there. There are individuals that have done tons of tutorials. Just go on YouTube and type stuff relevant, Synovo nodes and so forth. I've done a couple on my YouTube channel, and there's a bunch on Synoversity. Yeah. And Dean is late. Let's start again. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's. I'm just joking. Okay. So if you want to go to the Cinema 4D procedural Discord, a lot of help, a lot of great people. My very good friend Donovan Keith is there, Dominic Rockley is there, and a ton of other very, very, very smart people. So you're going to get enough information. All right. Next question. Oh, Dean, you've been struggling with the new cloner distribution to create a vertical stack of different clones. Okay. Differently sized clones, you mean? I assume. If we have some time at the end, I will see what I can do about that. Otherwise, we need to, I don't know, maybe maybe I need to do a series or something. We'll see. We'll see. I can give you some guidance, but we have to go through a few of the questions already. And let's go and share my screen. Go to the second question of the day. Same question of the day. An interesting one, for that matter. So, oh, Dean, your espresso question. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dean Mellis, that follows the guidelines and asks questions on the form. So, Dean, your question was about the angles, and I think you are mistaken. You're not greedy. You're doing what you ought to do. You have, when it comes to knowledge, you have to be as greedy as possible. There is no moderation when it comes to knowledge, right? Remember that. The same thing with good food. If you're eating good quality food, nutritious and healthy food, you have to eat until you're satiated, right? Otherwise, you're eating junk. If you eat a lot and you're not satiated and your belly becomes bloated, that means that you're not eating proper food. Okay, so let's open this one over here. So, knowledge challenge. That's a good one. I need to put it up. Yeah, shout out. We are all knowledge challenged. So the question was in espresso. There's a. I'm going to go back to this. Let me show everyone what the problem is, just in case you were not aware. Let's find something that has degrees. And a good one, besides rotations, would be here where we have, you can see we have the little degree sign on the 0 and the 90. Okay. Now, for reasons of programming, degrees are not the best way to describe angles, but radians are. And radians are not, it's not a difficult thing to understand, because we know that the diameter of a circle fits. So the diameter of a circle fits pi times in the circumference. That's the whole pi thing, right? And you can say for a slice, right? So let's take this slice over here. For this, is that called the arc? No, slice is that the actual thing from the corner. So this arc over here, we can describe how much it arcs with degrees or with radians. So if this is as long as the diameter, then this angle is 1 radian. That's it. That is the whole concept, radians. So a circle, a full circle, has pi radians, and for whatever programming reasons, it appears to be easier to encode circles that way, because you have a direct correlation between the arc you're measuring and the size of the circle, right? If you're doing rolling wheels, you just need to move that wheel pi pi times its 2 pi times its diameter, it is radius in order to make it roll properly. That's it. You don't need to calculate degrees. Anyhow, so when you use espresso, I was just about to lose my train of thought. Those rabbit holes, dangerous place to be, especially when frequented by Bugs Bunny, one of my favorite characters, and Daffy Duck. Okay, so I'm going to take this arc here, and what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to get the output. I'm going to read. You can go here and say, let's read the start angle and the end angle. And what you will realize if I put a result, so result is a way to read the values. If I put this here and let's say start angle boink, this ain't 38 degrees. This is radians. And conveniently, what Maxon has done is if you type degrees here, not radians, degrees, you get the degree node. Now, this is where I think Dean got confused. It's not two nodes. There's no. Did I say two nodes? I meant nodes. The degree node has both radians to degrees and degrees to radians. At this point, I've answered all the questions that Dean had, but I need to continue to show you how I would go about using some sort of user data in order to control the start angle and then, let's say, a number of degrees for my arc using a custom interface. So go here. For anyone that doesn't know, this is additional bonus knowledge. You can go to the user data and let's add user data here. Okay. And I'm going to add a group that is called my controls. You definitely do not need to add a group. I like it because it changes the name you will see when I press OK. I get the my controls here instead of something just saying user data, which is fancy. Manage user data. Okay. I'm going to call this starting angle, right? And float means any number with, it can have, it's not a whole number, it's just a number that can have decimals. And it's a float. I don't want it to be a percent. I just want it to be, if you put degrees here, it will do the conversion. I'm just going to put a real number. And I'm going to go from 0 to 360 and kind of clamp this and the default value of, I guess, 0. I'm going to leave it at 0. This now is a, kind of a sample here. So let's leave it at 0. Starting angle. So let me make a copy of this, or I can type everything again and call it range. There we go. Float and all that. And let's say 0 to 180 and default 90. Right? There we go. Press OK. So now we have this. The arc has this extra set of controls. And let's go plug these here and see what happens. So I'm going to delete everything. And you open up your Espresso editor and you drag the object that contains the user data. This can be on any object in your scene. It doesn't really matter. And the Espresso can be in any object in your scene. There are some things where you control the absolute or the relative reference because you can make this so that putting it on any arc will control them separately by just making sure that it's a relative reference to the object it's attached to. Anyhow, and what you can do here, the easy way, you can go and find the various properties. I've got them. Where is my object properties, position, object? Where's my controls? There they are. See, because I couldn't find them, what you can do, go here and you can drag them here. That's a really convenient thing. All right. So here we're going to get the values, right? And I'm just getting float numbers and I'm thinking of degrees, Synalvity doesn't know that. So I want to drive, let's go here. I want to drive the start angle, of course, is going to be this. And then I want to get this angle here, the end angle, all right? And the end angle, as far as my calculation is, I'm going to add, so I'm going to go math. And if you go to math, I want to add the start angle and the range, and it will give me the end angle and the start angle is this one over here. And you can see that this ain't looking good because we have 0 to 90, and this is doing all these funky circles here. So that's where I need to use the degree. Grab the degree. And I can do it here or I can do it there. It doesn't matter because I just need to convert the numbers. I'm going to take the starting angle and put it here. And I'm going to get the other angle. I just made a copy using control. There we go. So, and I need degrees to radians because I'm feeding it what I am thinking of degrees, and it needs to convert this to radians so that the Cinema 4D inputs will read it. Okay, and there we go. So I have a starting angle of 0, wherever that zero is on top. You know, I can move the starting angle there. I can move it. Oh, 0, so it goes counterclockwise. I can change the math, and here is the size of it, and there you go. So this is a way for you to control things like that. And this is what I've done here. Exactly the same thing, degree and math and all that. And I'm going to have any files, today's files, I'm going to have them um, in that download you'll find in the description text below. Okay. This is a very quick answer. If possible, please share what AI tools and all that. Unfortunately, not. Um, as you may already know, Maxon does not make any announcements, or we're not allowed to say anything if we know. Don't assume that I know stuff, especially when it comes to AI. I have my very own opinions about these things. So, yeah, you have to wait for any announcements or contact Maxon directly. Maybe someone is willing to go to prison and break their NDA. Oh, sorry, break the rules and tell you. But that will not be me. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go. Next question. Boom. Where are we here? Okay. Aha, here's a good one. So I am attempting, and this is from Ben. I am attempting a cloth simulation in Cinema 4D, where certain parts of the cloth, I want them to be rigid, as if there's a hem or a rod holding them straight. And Ben tried the vertex map. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Yeah, but that's not the problem. I'm not sure if I'm attaching the vertex map and so forth in the correct place. Stiffness. Let me show you the result. I've got a couple of results here with totally different methodologies. All right. So let's check out this. As you can see here, we got part of the cloth which is a bit more rigid, and another part of the cloth which becomes a bit more bendy, and over here it's very, very bendy. This is a hack. I just subdivide this plane in differently. For each part of the cloth, I want to have different rigidity, because the larger the polygons, the less rigid an object is. And I mean, that is something that is very close to how nature works. But in any case, if you have this big thing, while the points can wiggle around, it can't really bend in the middle, which makes it rigid. The same thing applies for each and every one of these. So the smaller the polygons become, the more floppy it becomes. Okay. Now, the problem with this is that, as you can see from the shading here, we're getting go away and horizon, go away horizon. And let's get rid of, I press Shift V, which is the configure, and this comes up, and I get rid of the safe frames. So you can see there's a line appearing here in the middle. That's because the points are shearing. This is not flat anymore. Look at that. And that ain't good. So if you want a quick solution, do it this way. If it's some sort of background element where you need some sort of flag that is made of different materials, you can get away with this as a background element. But if you want a proper solution, you go to connectors. There you go. And watch this. Now we have exactly what the user requested, and we can use one or more of these objects here. But you can see that there is something holding on to the cloth. And this file will be available, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyhow. Okay, let's go. So I'm going to start with nothing and just this. And yeah, I have a point selection. I'm going to delete everything except for the cloth. As you can see here, we just have a cloth. I have no gravity. If you go to your settings, your scene settings, you can find them over here. Scene settings, or press Control D. And I'm going to go down here, simulation scene, no gravity. I like to add gravity locally, since we're talking about gravity. Nobody asked, but that doesn't matter. I can add a gravity object, and then I can say, oh, let's put a spherical field. So only anything that's in there has gravity. You can do so many cool things with this. If you don't add a field, it would just add gravity. Why? But at least you know that you can control it anyhow. So this is our cloth. And what I want to do here is I want to constrain part of it to to an object, a rigid body object. And that rigid body object is going to be my little cube, 10. And let's go here and make this 10. And I'm going to add some subdivisions. Oops, that's the wrong subdivisions. These are the ones. And I'm going to put it over here, which is not bad. Okay. So let's give it another color so we can see it a bit better. So go to your basic tab, go automatic, and set a color. It'll give you a nice little, there we go. Nice and dark color. Let's go closer. And I need to just go here and turn these off because they irritate me. There you go. We have a lot of space, and Shift V, save. There you go. No lines, nothing. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to right click and make this into a rigid body. And you will see that they're going to interact, but in a sort of weird way, because the initial instinct of simulations is to try and avoid any collisions. And you can see that everything is floating in zero gravity, and we get that weird motion. So we need to do a few things here. The number one thing we need to do is attach the cloth to this stick. And I just want to make sure that my lines are visible. There you go. You can see it a bit better. So what I need to do is tell the plane, and I have a selection over here. I have a point selection. Why? Because I want to tell this plane which points are the ones that are going to be connected. So I'm selecting them. I'm going to go to my select, down here, store selection, and I like to name things. In this case, we only have one, but let's say stuck. Put names because in some cases, the name is what defines what the selection is. Good. You can deselect this. It doesn't matter. This is always available for you to double click and bring them back. What I'm going to do now with this plane is right click and go to my simulation. And we have the connector tag. Very powerful. It's the quasi-procedural replacement, let's say cousin of the cloth belt, because it works with all sorts of different objects, including primitives. As you can see, we're going to attach them to the cube. Anyway, connector. The belt is still good, but the connector is a bit more, let's say, versatile. Now I'm going to tell it that I need to connect these points, the points that are selected there. Now you can't see anything yet. You have to create and then update live. And then you can move this, and it's going to start increasing. And I'm just going to go. And by the way, if you're in here, click and drag. The amount by which the click and drag increases the value, that is based on the interface and how the developer coded it. But if you press Shift, you go 10 times faster. And if you press Alt, you go 10 times slower. So you can fine tune that. Anyway, so I've selected all these points here now are connected to this stick. I'm actually going to call this stick. All right. And now go to model mode and deselect, and let's press play. And what you will see is that now these are nicely constrained. Now you can do even more things. You can create a more robust structure. And it doesn't need to be a cube. It can be a bunch of cubes. It can be anything you want. So imagine if you can have 2 or 3 different one of these. I'm going to leave one for now. But now what I'm going to do is I want this to pivot. I don't want this to float around and all that nonsense. Who wants all that nonsense? So what I'm going to do is, because it's a rigid body, I can actually go and use a connector. There you go. So I'm just going to get an angular one. You can see I'm going to rotate it because you can see the angle. It works 90 degrees. I'm going to move it somewhere here with my shift, around 300 units, just to get it exactly on the pivot. And because I had my stick connected, it's going to add this over here. And there's a little trick. You select your object and you go pin to world. This way, it doesn't require another object to pin it there. So there you go. It moves left and right. Doesn't go up and down because it's constrained to that angle. And you can make it a spring and all that. But this way, you can do a bunch of these. And not only a bunch of these, you can actually create different pivoted rigid bodies. And Marco, how dare you? You're late. Let me show my face. I'm going to look you in the eye. Marco, I'm sad. You made Noseman sad. Welcome, Marco. It's never late. Okay. Marco is a very good friend and amazing artist. You can say more about yourself. Okay. Yeah. So these are the two methods. If I revert saved this one, these files are going to be available. I'm going to provide the links later on. And depending, all right. So let me say one more thing. You can still use topology to fix some of these things, to do some very specific things. So, for example, let me solo this thing here. Okay, I'm going to go and select all these polygons. When you have any component selection, press Control and click on the other one. It converts that selection. I'm going to do a UZ, and this will actually melt everything. It's right-click, melt, and UZ. I'll delete. No way. I'm using the wrong keyboard shortcut. So what I'm going to do is deselect these little bits here and these little bits. I'm deselecting them because I want to delete everything else. Okay, let's see what this is going to do, because this is going to be, let me turn off the solo. Now, whenever you change topology, make sure you refresh this. So create, and it's connected to those points. Let me see what's going to happen now. Okay. So as you can see, there's a way here. Now that doesn't look very good. There are ways to fix it. You have to transition from one to the other. I can do this. Let's do this. You know how I'm going to do this? I'm going to do this by removing these points, not that. Control, delete. I'm amazed. And go here and update, create. Good. So now it's just a bunch of points connected there. And now, trying to hold on. It ain't working nice. I hate this. Anyway, do it to suit your own needs. That's it. But that's the process. And the files are going to be in the uploads repository. Okay. So between these two methods, choose the one you think is more convenient, or you can even use a hybrid method. Forget the last 3 minutes of this video. Okay. Let's see what's the next question. Can I find the preference to edit deformed polygons playing with a shear deformer? Oh, Shift V in your preferences here. You go, sorry, in the view preferences. So Shift V, and you go, I think it's in the view, deformed editing. This is where you're going to find it. I hope that's what you were talking about. Okay. Next question. Yeah. This is a nice one. It's a redshift one. Random noise. Okay, let's go here. So there was a tutorial that Ellie did a while ago about how to use how to use, if I get this and go here, there is a object geometry ID color. The geometry ID color, which doesn't work with instances, will give you a color for each different geometry. But unfortunately, and this is in order to create some sort of randomization. I'm going to paste the link. Give me a sec, so you can go and watch it, because and then you can. I don't want to tell you the same stuff that Ellie said, because Ellie shows things perfectly. Excellent. And let me just add a banner for anyone that can't access. So create banner, paste, press enter, and let's show it, just so that, and you can go and you can search for random noise MoGraph in the Redshift quick tips or something like that. Why does it appear that the stream has frozen? No? Give me a second. Oh, there you go. No, there's a long delay today. Sorry about that. Okay. So where was I? Yeah, the differences. I need to show you the difference. So while in the color use data, the Redshift geometry ID color will give you random colors, which in turn then you can feed a vector change range and the offset of the noise and provide a different noise to each and every one of these. It doesn't work in multi-instances. This is what you see. So it's a weird thing. What you can do is, instead of using this, you can use the Redshift MoGraph color. All right. So if you do this, the Redshift MoGraph color should work. Now, it doesn't appear to be working. What you do need to do, let's plug it in the output here, and let's refresh. There you go. So sometimes you need to refresh. And all you have to do is randomize the MoGraph color by just using a random effector. If you're randomizing color with a random effector, you can use a random field with a plane effector and all that. Make sure you go to the effector, you go to the min max, and you set the minimum to 0. Otherwise, it will give you negative colors. You don't want that. So set the default minimum is minus 100, and you can see weird things are happening. So set this to 0, and it will give you nice normalized colors. And go over here and switch this, which the default is off, to effector color. And it will give you a random colors here, which is good enough. So you can refresh, and if you feel that something's not going well, and you can feed that into the input, and this will give you with multi-instances different noises. You can see they're distinctively different, and they are stuck to the objects. They do not swim through. So the solution to the not working with multi-instances and the geometry, I forget what the name was again. The geometry ID color. There we go. Is to use the MoGraph random color instead. So that will be the solution for this. Great. Let's see what else. Okay. There's an interesting question about color LUTs in Redshift and sharing the files and all that. I'm not sure how to answer that. So I'll need to take a rain check and check it out. All right, let's see. And the last question is by Julian in Finland. This is a bit of a longer question. Okay, so if it's a longer question, I'm going to add my head for aesthetic reasons over there. Okay, so let's see. I regularly make installation animations, and I was wondering, what is the best workflow? Let's begin with it depends. The way I've been doing these is as follows. 1, I animate my elements in Cinema 4D without any breaks or pauses, so I don't have to render the same frame hundreds of times. what I assume, this is what I'm trying to understand. Um, we have an animation, and then we have a freeze frame, and the freeze frame, it's got some text, and then another animation starts, and another freeze frame, and so forth. And as far as I understand, Julian renders each animation as one huge animation, and then goes After Effects, cuts it, extends the freeze frame, and does that. Now it says number 2, I import my image sequence into After Effects, hopefully into Autograph at some point. Yeah. Has everyone tried Autograph here? Go download it. It's free, right? And you may find it surprising. Go check out fantastic tutorials um, by Chad and others. And I think Mike Shalapsky as well is doing some stuff. Anyway, just go check it out. It's free and it's cool and it's procedural and it's nice. Did I say free? Good. So he adds all the texts and overlays. He breaks the animation into several clips to add the pauses so that that people have time to read the text. Now, the problem is that whenever there's a change in the 3D animation and it changes the length of the animation, then the whole thing goes out of the window. It needs to bring them in and so forth. Now, this is a very interesting question because it underpins one of, a fundamental thing about planning how you do stuff. And the fact that, sometimes you have to choose what is the least painful way to go. My suggestion would be to not render one animation out of this. And the reason is you do have to go back to Cinema 4D, extend that portion if it changes. Then everything else is going to be pushed further. You could work with takes where each take renders, and let me show you, since I'm here, let me show what I mean. So when you use takes, and let's say we add a take, each take has the activation. If you need to save this, when you say marked takes, whatever it says marked take, it's what's marked here. This here is choose a camera from your scene. You can choose multiple cameras. You can have the same scene and you can render the scene multiple times using different cameras. And then we have this. These are render settings from here. So you can say my render settings main, put all your parameters there. Then you make a child and you call this 0 to, let's say, 20. And you set, I'm going to render from 0 to 20. Let's say the whole animation is 600 frames. You don't need to write 600, but let's say 0 to 20. Then you go here and you add a new one and make that a child. And this one is 21 to, let's say, 200 and so forth. And you just make sure you put 21 to 200. And what happens is that each take, you can say, well, take 1 is going to be 0 to 20. The other take, make a copy of this. I can make a copy of this. The next one is going to be 21 to 200 and so forth. And this will create separate image sequences, which you can import in After Effects. Now, and you can use a method like this. Another way, and this is more of a general suggestion, if you are rendering image sequences, then all you need to do is go to the folder where that particular sequence exists. You can put each animation sequence in a different folder, and you can just rename it or load them as separate image sequences. So you may have an image sequence total, which is from 1 to, let's say, 1,000. But knowing that your first animation is 0 to 100, the second one is 101 to 300, the third one is 301 to 600 or something like that. What you can do is put the batch of those rendered frame, put them in different folders, and then if you render an animation that is longer, you just replace that bunch of image sequences that reside in that particular folder, because each content of each folder, you're going to load it as a different sequence. Now, I may be missing some details about what exactly you're doing, but this is not a Cinema 4D specific thing. There are solutions like takes and stuff like that you can utilize. But overall, this is more of finding a strategy that changes are difficult. Whenever someone asks you to make a change on something, there's a level of difficulty. It would be nice if everyone says, "Hey, this is amazing, signed off, get your money, move on to the next project." So the easiest way you find in order to do the changes, there's always pain. There's not. It's never, "Oh, I just press a button and the change happens." Unfortunately, so that is just about it. It's just strategizing what is the least painful way of doing stuff. Okay, let's see. Go back to the comments here and see. Anima Bob. Which one? The noise? To make a noise? Type down exactly what you meant. Why not? Maximum Training Team, you're very welcome. I'm not going to try to. Oh, game over. Nice one. Okay, let's see this question. I don't know if I can answer. Why in the 2021 version causes the viewport? This is, yeah. This place is not ideal for these kind of questions. If it crashes, it shouldn't crash. That's what you need to remember. It should not crash. If it crashes, could be a bug. It could be something else. Problem with the system and so forth. Customer support. That's it. It's the best way for you to get a response, and make sure to send Max on these logs and the auto crash report, because they're necessary in case something needs to be fixed. But I don't know. Yeah, it's unfortunate when you cannot follow a specific tutorial because of certain things, but there's absolutely nothing I can do to help you with this. So yeah, customer support is the best thing you can do. Let's see what else do we have here. Let's see if we have any questions. You're not asking questions today. I love it. That means that everyone knows plenty of things. Let's see if I missed anything. Let me go to that folder where I have some files, and let's see. Noise, rigid, espresso, degrees, radians. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to do the housekeeping. Oh, don't forget to go and watch today's quick tip about how to make gobos. We have touched upon that. My very good friend Dustin Valkema did a tutorial on gobos, but I condensed it in a few minutes. And go check out the quick tip. The other thing I want you to do. So let's go and do some housekeeping here and show you a couple of things. So first of all, let me bring up my, where's my, there we go. Do this, and let's do this, and let me, that is the developers. I don't want this, I want this. Going to paste this. So this page here is a sort of a hub page. It has the ask the trainer questions and so forth. And I know I've promised that we're going to try and refine it. That is what we still have here. Let me go to the banners and make sure. Let's see, where is this? I'm going to put it. Come on, is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. Too many things. I'm just putting it up there so people can type it if for whatever reason the chat is not available. Good. Now, from this, you can go to all sorts of places. You can go to Max and events. A lot of cool stuff going on around the world, online and in person. Max and Training YouTube channel. Okay. I did this 4-part series over the last month about how to do the Escher style tiles. This is very simple MoGraph, and it has morphing. It explains the way this was created, and it's 4 videos. One is an introduction, explains what we're doing here, Sorry, this is the introduction. This is how to, which one is this? And this is morphing. Okay, this shows you how to do transformation tiling, and this shows you rotation tiling, so you can do this and morphing. And then I have some scenes which I'm providing, and all the links and all that is there. I'm going to put these in a playlist very soon. But go check them out. I think they're good tutorials. They haven't gotten the traction I had wished for, but then that's what happens with algorithms and pushing things to people with very small attention spans. Whereas the stuff we make is for people that are dedicated and are investing time in learning stuff. So, we do have a question from Marco. Let me go and bring it up. So I want to use a line to spline, but I want to add a formula deformer on the spline and use that, but it doesn't see it even when adding a connect object. Yeah. It's yeah, because the align to spline is one of those tools that doesn't use, right, it's actually an excellent question to go in a rabbit hole. Oops, sorry. There we go. So we all think splines. Let's go and get a spline, right? We all see splines as this. Oh, we have a spline, and this is an editable spline, and it's not quite an editable spline or a non-editable spline. While this is a spline primitive, splines are also generators. You can make them editable, so I can press C as many times as I want. It still has a checkbox, and checkbox means that this is a generator. Now, when I'm in points mode, you see this blue thingy, right? Blue to white. And this is how the gradient where the spline is flowing. What you see in points mode is the mathematical expression of this spline using whatever type it is. This describes the different math that creates this, given the data. So the points and the controls. The spline, this is the actual spline data. But when we are using it, for example, if I'm taking this and I'm making an extrude, this is not a CAD file. This is not a smooth surface. This is a bunch of polygons, right? Don't forget about that. And those polygons come from the spline. Now watch the subdivisions. If I change this to, let's say, uniform. So this is what we call the tessellated spline. Also, the lines. That's what we call these. We call these the lines. So while a spline has a mathematical representation, which is this, and this is used for animation, it's used for align to spline, and so forth. So if I take this, it doesn't matter. Look at this. This is not changing. But wait, Noseman, you only have 2 uniform points. Yeah. Look how coarse this looks. Because when this executes, it becomes that line based on this. But the mathematical spline still exists. Here it is. And the answer to Marco's question is that the align to spline uses the mathematical spline. And when a deformer is applied, the deformer is not applied to the mathematical components. It's applied to the points. So if I were to take this and say, move it, let's go points. While it's moving the whole thing, what is moving, look at that. It's the points that are moving. It's not the spline that's moving. The spline is always there. Right? See, spline hasn't moved. Move this here. Spline's still there. Ain't going anywhere. So the align to spline in here, align to spline, is one of those parts of Cinema 4D that reads the mathematical spline, not the generated lines. And deformers create that, move those mathematical points. Okie doke. Is there a way to work around this? Maybe. Right, let's try something. Marco, this is for you, buddy. So let's see if we can transform this. Let's say I'm going to go uniform 8. right? Let me think about this for a second. And what will happen? Huh, I think I have a solution. Again, it's a rabbit hole. So let me maximize the window to maximize rabbit hole impact. 16. There we go. And I want to take this. I hope it's going to work and deform it. So let's take this and let's deform it. Boink. There you go. Deformed spline. Let's see what happens if I use. I'm thinking most spline. I'm thinking and working. So I'm going to go to spline mode and go to spline. And I'm actually going to put this spline in the most spline. I don't know what I'm doing here. So source spline. There we go. Then I'm going to apply this to that. So, and then I'm going to get another spline. Oh, come on. Copy. I'm going to make this a destination. And it doesn't matter if it has or hasn't points. So the destination is just a spline object. We don't care about what it has. Undo. Where are my points here? So we have this destination. Let me select the points of the destination. Good. And tell the most spline to feed this in a destination spline. Okay. And let's see if this now is going to work. If it does, maybe I'm going to do a tutorial. Let's go here. Let's right click and say align to spline and use this. Let's see if it's going to work. It ain't working. It's not feeding. Yeah. Even the most spline is immune to all this. Yeah. Even the most spline. So too bad. Use the matrix. Rabbit hole. we hit. Maybe there's some sort of way around here. I don't know why, but why? Linear, uniform, off. Darn. Yeah, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe there is a way to do this. Absolutely. Anyway, for now it's not working, so too bad. Yeah, you can do traces and stuff like that. Oh, actually, is that going to work? Yeah. So you just gave me an idea with a tracer. I don't know if you use that. You can trace a spline itself. So let's see this. I'm going to get my same. Where's my bend deformer? Deform this. See, we're doing team brainstorming now. So I'm deforming this spline. Okay. If I take this now and go to a tracer traces the spline components, and I'm going to connect all objects here. So what this is going to do is going to create between each point of the spline a spline. And I'm going to put the tracer in here. There you go. So that's the way to do it. Thank you, Marco, for bringing the word tracer into the mix. I'm going to save this and put it in the downloads. And yeah, I was halfway. Yep, there's always another way. There's always another way. All we need is to, yeah, save. Right, so I'll do this. And I'm going to go and I'm going to save. Just for the record, in case. So I'm going and I'm saving. And this is called the form spline line to spline. There we go. Bonk. Excellent. So I think I was showing. Yeah. What was I showing? I was showing this, but then I was showing that. Let me close this. There we go. So go watch the hex tiles and share the knowledge. This deserves to go out because it uses a very simple method and has unlimited potential. If anyone wants to make tiles and tessellations, it has information, it has links to all sorts of interesting websites and so forth. You're very welcome, Marco. Okay. Don't forget, go to the Maxing YouTube channel where we have presentations and interviews from NAB and all that, and off Barcelona and all the events. So you're going to check out all the great stuff that people have done. Great. Oh, thank you very much, Al. I appreciate you watching it. And then, of course, go learn how to use ZBrush. And if you have an iPad, go download it for the iPad and be an artist from your couch. And of course, go to Cineversity to check out tutorials, quick tips, autograph. Focus a bit on autograph. Maybe this is what you were missing for a long time. Wink, wink. And of course, quick tips and all that nice stuff are always hosted over here. This is my friend, Michael Shalapsky, and he's showing you 2 ways to keep text automatically centered. Perfect. Good. Um, this is a nice one. Okay. Thanks for addressing my question. I still would like Max and banish radians. Well, they are banished in a way. Come on, let me bring it up. And the reason is, remember when we went here? Right. So we got this thing here. I think I redid it. There you go. So let's try something. If I go to the arc here in the user data, add user data, and change my starting angle to a degree and my range to a degree. Press OK. Let's see what this is going to do. I'm starting node 0. And then you don't need these things. But you were trying to do this without adjusting your proper units. There it is. Starting angle directly. So just make sure. Oh no, I did it again. I've done it before in the past. Let's do this one more time. Thank you, Marco. Okay, let's do this again. Where was I? So the original, I'm going to go back to the original here. So undo, 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 undo. All right, let's go here. So remember this setup I did for you live, where we are transferring the degrees? We are transforming the numbers into degrees. That's because in the user data, manage user data, both these are just floats without any indication of the data type. If you switch this to a degree, go here and set it to a degree, then what will happen is you don't need these anymore. And if you leave them, the setup is going to be extremely bonked because look at that, because the values don't make sense because now those are radians. So just connect these up. Good thing I look at the comments sometimes, and there you go. So 0 is there and 230. So you don't need the degrees. And yeah, just make sure you're using the proper parameters. Now, let me think of one more thing here. What if this was an object? Let's forget about the user data because maybe this does not work. Let's put this here. Let's go and add. So this is this, and this is, so arc 1. I'm going to go and get the start angle and the end angle. So these are by definition degrees, start angle, end angle. Is this going to work properly? 0, 90. Yeah, it works properly. So this is not a Maxon thing. This is because in some cases we're using the wrong unit. Now, internally, it could have been that all degrees are encoded as a float. But as I said, there are very specific mathematical reasons that's happening. For example, why are position, rotations, and scales not 3 vectors, and they're all encoded in a 4x3 matrix? That's because it makes the math easier when you have child-parent relationships. So there are certain things that sort of go invisible. We don't, we can't see, we don't know why these are happening, but there's always good reason why these are happening. Anyway, sorry for that little blip. And yeah, if you want Maxon to banish radians, then tell them, but that ain't going to happen. It's very deep. And it's not only, I think all 3D software uses radians to encode rotations. Maybe they have some auto conversions and so forth. But as far as the code is concerned, go check it out, Google it, or I don't know, LLM it, whatever it's called, chatbot it. And I think you're going to get a good answer as to why radians are preferred. Okay. Let's see. Did someone text me? Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with me for this hour. I hope that you found this useful. And yeah, go watch tutorials, go learn, and go make great stuff. Now I need to find all the buttons here. Media assets. I need the closing loop. And at the closing loop, there's even a QR code of sorts. I hope it works. Toodaloo, everyone. Bye-bye.